Payday 3 has been out for 2 weeks now, and has launched with 8 very solid heists. And with the roadmap laying out the heists for the next year, I figure now is the time to throw my 2 cents out there. So, here's my top 10 ideas for heists in Payday 3. Number 10, a sports stadium. Now this one I'm just straight up taking from the town. Robbing a baseball or football stadium after a big game and taking the cash after all the money is in is a fantastic idea for a heist. And maybe this can be the first multi-day heist in Payday 3. In the town, the crew attends one of the games leading up to the robbery to case the place. Maybe if this is a 2-day heist, the first day we can attend a game and set up and place equipment that we'll use in day 2. And then on day 2, when the place is clear, we'll come back and use the equipment from day 1. Be it for a loud or silent approach. And on that note, Payday 3 really needs pre-planning. I mean, like, come on, the favors kinda suck, let's be frank. And there was supposed to be pre-planning at launch as revealed by Gustavo Coutinho in his interview with Red Archer Live. Oh well, I think that having a fun watch a ball game set up for a future heist would be a fun idea anyway. Number 9, a Broadway Theater. Now this heist, along with the previous, is just playing into the New York theme of Payday 3, but I think it would make for a fun place for a shootout. Maybe the gang can attend some theater just to wreck the place like in Mall Crasher. Maybe there's a vault filled with some Broadway actors' coke, I don't know. I think it would be a fun setting for a heist. I guess that's what matters at the end of the day, right? Number 8, Grand Central Station / subways. Now, this is more or less just part of a heist rather than the main course. Perhaps at the end of a heist or at the beginning of one. Or, and I did just think of this while I'm writing this, what if there's a VIP with a briefcase like Matt Roscoe in Heat Street, and it would be our job to kidnap him and take him on a subway while the cops chase us through the station and even on the trains. Diverting tracks and hopping on incoming trains to lose the cops would make for a fun set piece. And Starbreeze, feel free to go ahead and use that. Just don't forget about me, will ya? Who the hell am I kidding? They ain't watching some dickhead like me. Number 7, a restaurant heist. Now, before you go and click on an Oli video or something, let me just say my piece. It is a common occurrence in real life and fiction that criminal organizations will use fronts to launder dirty money and act as meeting places or safe houses. We even get a little of this in Payday 3 with Joy and Pearl meeting Chayu in the kitchen of a Triad restaurant, and Vlad's bakery shop in Payday 2 that we never actually see in-game, but receive some cupcakes from in the safe house, and get to see an 8-bit rendition in the Choose Your Own Adventure game that Starbreeze put out a few years ago. Of course, there are a lot of types of restaurants that can be settings of this heist. However, seeing as that we are in New York, the idea of the place being a mob restaurant is a believable and interesting setting. A high-end mob hangout with a vault or safe house filled with loot would definitely be on the radar of the Payday gang. Not to mention that as far as we know, the gang has always had an antagonistic relationship with the American Mafia. Dallas being a former member of the Chicago mob, who tried to kill him after he made a bid to turn 2 families against each other, resulting in the deaths of a lot of gangsters and cops alike. Dallas, surviving the attempt on his life, of course later went on to meet Bane and form the Payday gang. And in the case of Bane, he referred to an enemy of his named Don Elias in the web series. So I think it's safe to say that CrimeNet or the Payday gang has never been buddy-buddy with the American Mafia. Number 6, museums. There are a handful of pretty notable museums in New York. One of them they gave to Ben Stiller and the funny swearing man who hosted an award show once and then got on Twitter and complained about it for the rest of time. But anyway, this heist would more or less just be a chance to do a museum heist like the diamond, just without the diamond. The diamond in Payday 2 was such a solid heist setup for that game, it makes me wonder if that's the reason they've never tried to do another museum heist because of it. Anyway, this would just be another chance to do a museum for Payday 3, and I can't pass that up. Number 5, a mall. Now yes, this is familiar ground for Payday. I do think the setting of a big consumer mall teeming with Thonic energy is a perfect setting for a heist in Payday 3. Mall Crasher from Payday 2 was really held back by what the diesel engine and the team could do back in the day, and it shows. I mean, come on, man. If this place qualifies as a mall in the Payday universe, then the dumpster behind the coffee shop and 4 stores might as well be a Red Lobster. Honestly, I think the map works a lot better in Holdout, where you're forced to sit in one spot and shoot cops coming at you from all angles. But But all that being said, the idea of a big mall filled with jewelry stores, ATMs, restaurants, electronics, retailers filled with designer clothing brands, and occasionally banks, not to mention New York is fairly famous for its malls, if that doesn't entice you as a heister, I don't know what does. Number 4, an office building. Now I get what you're thinking. Really? An office building? Are you that desperate for ideas to make a video? Well, number 1, yes. Number 2, I'm not talking about a regular old run-of-the-mill office building with annoying coworkers or other stupid shit. I was thinking something more along the lines of Die Hard. A massive tower with dozens of floors to run through and a well-protected vault that holds millions. After all, the plot of Die Hard is just a heist movie. It's just that we as the audience and John McClane are on the other side of it. Now, I'm not asking for a straight-up Nakatomi Plaza heist, as really cool as that may be. After all, movie tie-in rights can change over time. R.I.P. Scarface. However, I think the idea of an office building / skyscraper heist can be very cool and a unique setting for the game. We had something similar to this with Mountain Master and Payday 2, but that really didn't capture the same vibe that this would be going for, and the second half of that was just a penthouse robbery, so... Number 3, a cruise ship. Now, some of you may be saying that we already had a cruise ship heist in Payday 2 with Black Cat, but that doesn't really scratch that itch for me, and it was a private triad ship or something. What I was thinking of is a more regular commercial cruise liner. High-end fashion in liquor stores, restaurants, jewelry, art, a casino. Not to mention, with the switch to Unreal, we can do some more dynamic stuff like, say, I don't know, sinking the ship? Escaping with a submarine, a boat, helicopter, not to mention the possibility of hijacking the boat. Now, some of you may say, wait, hold up, that sounds like terrorism, and yeah, it kinda does, to which you would say back, Almir said the Payday gang aren't terrorists. And yeah, he did say that. But...
Code!
So hijacking a ship isn't that far-fetched for them, is it? And they've already technically done it once. Anyway, I think it's a fun setting that deserves to have another crack taken at it. Number 2, an airport. Now, I know what you're thinking, but hear me out. But airports in New York actually have a long and deep history of being robbed and massive heists being pulled off, mostly by the mafia. Chief among them in pop culture being the Lufthansa heist that was featured in Goodfellas, with a crew of 6 masked men and a take of about $6 million, not to mention the several smaller heists that happened before, and the racket of stealing incoming and outgoing trucks from the airport that half the time the drivers were in on. Now, I'm not saying that the gang are the type of people to pull racket and schemes like this, taking a truck full of pool furniture and acting like they're $1 million. These are full-fledged heisters who live and breathe for the heist. But maybe there's some trucks parked somewhere. Maybe we open one up and find out that the loot inside might just be more valuable than anything we've ever stolen in the entire franchise of Payday.
Pokemon cards. Me and Tommy Mac are taking down a truckload.
Now, of course, these real-world heists took place in a But this takes place in the Payday universe, so maybe we won't immediately be wiped off the face of the earth with a drone strike when the feds learn that a gang of 4 clowns is robbing a New York City airport. But hey, maybe that's not so bad. Maybe the army shows up, have a little tank boss fight, sprinkle a little GTA into the mix. That doesn't sound too bad. Number 1, the New York Mint. At number 1, we have the New York Mint. Now, full disclosure, this is just Ice-T's idea from the launch livestream, but what can I say, it's a great idea. A heist at a mint is a clever spin on an infinite bag heist, and unlike counterfeit, this would be real money that the gang is printing / stealing. Now, of course, an infinite bag heist like that would most certainly be loud only, but I think it would be a fun setup for a heist. Just, please, don't let it be like Counterfeit and Payday 2. Counterfeit is the least played infinite bag heist next to Border Crystals because it's just not fun to sit there and print. The power gets turned off all the time, securing bags is a pain, and money-wise, the bags aren't even worth the full amount of regular cash. Everyone plays Cook-Off because it's easy and fun to defend, it's not pulling teeth to secure bags, but it does suck sometimes, and you only need to go out and light flares when you need ingredients.
So here's hoping that when they do an infinite bag heist for Payday 3, they pull out all the stops. And that's about it. Sorry that this video took so long, but real life gets in the way sometimes. If you have any ideas for future heists in Payday 3, go ahead and let me know in the comments and I'll pin my favorites. And if I make a follow-up to this video, I'll be sure to credit each comment that suggests the idea. Subscribe and hit the bell for notifications on new videos. Leave a like and a comment, all that jazz. And yeah, that's everything. I'm gonna go now. See you guys.